Okay, good morning, Als. This is part 2 of the video, and this part, quite a few people were looking at the very last set of questions in the paper, because as it gets towards the end, questions 30, 31 plus, that is when it does start to get more difficult. So what we'll do in this part is just go through the very last couple of pages of the arithmetic paper. So starting from question 31, we've got 2/3 divided by 1/3. Now when we're dividing fractions, what we're looking at, if we've got 2/3, we're trying to split this and make it 3 times smaller. Now, if you're able to divide the numerator by what you're trying to divide by, then great, that works easily. But in this case, we can't do it. We can't do 2 divided by 3. So the other way to make the fraction smaller is to not touch the numerator, but actually make the denominator bigger. And in which case, we're going to have a look at 2/3 divided by 3. So we're going to look at working with the denominator and this number and actually multiplying them together. So in this case, 3 times 3 is 9. We've not touched the numerator. So 2/9 is 1/3 of 2/3. Question 32. We've got another one working with fractions here. This is slightly different because we've got a mixed number. We've got 2.5 take away 3/4. Now for me, the first thing I'd always be doing is having a look at, now again, if we imagine that we have got 2 1/2, and we want to show that in a fraction. If we're looking at how many halves we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2.5 is 5 halves. And again, we can see that by saying 2 times 2 is 4, add 1 is 5. So we've got 5 halves. Then, step 2, we can now have a look at it in this kind of way. 5 halves take away 3/4. What's the problem? Our denominators are different. So we need to make that 5 halves up into quarters so the denominators are the same. So to get from 2 to 4, I've times by 2. So I'm going to do the same to my numerator. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 halves is the same as 10/4. And then to finish it off, what we've now got is 10/4 minus 3/4 is going to leave us with 7/4. Now 7/4 is an absolutely fine answer. 100% perfect. You know, if you get that, that's a perfect answer. You might, given that we started by looking at mixed numbers, want to say that 7/4, and again, if you picture, there they are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is 1 whole and another 3/4. That's a perfect answer, but that is a perfect answer. You don't need to do that step. So when we're subtracting or adding with these ones, with mixed numbers, think my first tip, can you get them from a mixed number to an improper fraction? And then it's just the same as any of the others. Question 33. So we looked in the first video at finding percentage of a number. So this time we're looking to find 36% of 450. So remember, step 1, we want to start by finding 1% of that number. So 1% of 450. If I've got 450 and I'm looking to find 1%, I'm dividing it by 100. Everything moves across 2 spaces to the right. So 4, and there's the 5. Decimal point goes in. So 1% is 4.5 or 4.5. So now, to find 36%, I simply need to make this 36 times bigger. So I'm going to do 4.5 times by 36, and then it is our simple long multiplication that we were doing in the first video. So 5 6s are 30, carry the 3. 6 4s are 24, add 3 is 27. Don't forget, it's not a 3, it's 30, so we show that by putting the 0 in straight away. Then 3 times 5 is 15, carry the 1. 3 times 4 is 12, add the 1 is 13. And then add them together. So 0, 0. 5 add 7 is 12, carry the 1. 2 add 3 is 5, add the 1, don't forget, is 6. And then we've got the 1 there. So at the moment, I've got my answer 1620. But that can't be 36% of 450 because that's too big. So don't forget, we've got that decimal point in there. 1 decimal point in the question, 1 in the answer. So 36% of 450 is 162. And that's how we solve them one. So again, always those steps, find 1%, and then times it by how many percent we're looking to find. Question 34. Exactly the same as the 32, step 1. At the moment, we've got a mixed number. So let's change 1 3/4 into a mixed number, into an improper fraction. So it's how many quarters is 1 whole and 3/4. 1 times 4 is 4, so you get 4 quarters in the whole. Add the 3/4, so 7 quarters. And then we've got 7 quarters times by 10. 7 quarters times by 10. Now, when we are timesing a fraction by a whole number, what is the only part that we multiply? Is our numerator. 7 times 10 is 70. 4 stays the same. So 70 over 4 is a 100% perfect answer. Absolutely fine to have 70 over 4. The other way you could do this, and both are fine, if I was looking at 1 3/4, I know that 1 3/4 is what as a decimal? Think 3/4 is 0.75. So 1 3/4 is the same as 1.75. Now if I'm timesing 1.75 by 10, think what happens? Times by 10, really nice and easy. Everything moves one space to the left, so 1, the 7, the 5. 17.5 is again absolutely fine for an answer. So both methods, absolutely fine, doesn't matter which way you do them. And then we come to the final 2 questions. Okay. 5/6 times 540. Now the thing they've done here is put that times sign, and it can throw us until we remember that the times sign literally means of. So this question is simply wanting 5/6 of 540. Okay. Now we've done those before, so to begin, step 1, we want to find 1/6 of it. So to find 1/6 of 540, we need to split it. So 540 divided by 6. Let's have a look. 6 into 5 doesn't go. 6 into 54 goes 9. 6 into 0 doesn't go. So 1/6 of 540 is 90. But I don't want 1/6, I want 5/6. So to take that 1/6, which is the 90, I want 5 lots of it. 90 times by 5. 0 times 5 is 0. 9 times 5 is 45. 5/6 of 540 is 450. So again, step 1, let's find 1/6 of it. And then let's find however many we need. Find that afterwards. Now, 36 is an absolute nightmare of a question. It's a really, really difficult one. Nastily, it's worth 2 marks because it's a long division, and all long division ones are. The problem with it is when we start to work out how many 83s go into this, we can't even get any 83s into 80. So we've got to go all the way into how many 83s go into 805. Now the tactic, and this is where this question's really nasty because this is going to take time to do. We know that 83, 166, and having to add on and add on and add on and add on like that. Now, I've seen the answer to this and I've worked it out before. You have to go all the way up to pretty much 830, which is 10 lots. There are 9 83s go all the way up to 805. And the only way you'll get that is by simply going 166, add another 83, add another 83, add another 83. It's a real pain. And then what is more of a pain is that to get to what is left over is something like 558. So we're finally going, how many 8s go into 581, which you will find going down there, which actually is 7. And your answer was looking for is 97. This is just the worst example of a long division problem that I've ever seen them have. It's a real pig, and what they just were looking to see is how can you try and get to finding that there were 9 lots of 83 and then there was 58 remaining to get to that 7 part, the answer being 97. With that one, it's always worth just showing you're working, having a go, because there could well be a working mark even if you don't get the answer to 97. as soon as we saw that one last year, it was oh no, this is really mean. So don't worry about it if you didn't get to 97 for that one. Okay, so have a look through how you did on those last couple of ones. Let us know if there are any of those ones that you're really struggling with and you're not quite sure and you still don't understand. That's absolutely fine. Give us an email and we'll have a look at those individually. But well done for all of these, and keep going with it.